Welcome to Charlie's 7th attempt at taking you on a walk through London. Today, rather than try and record the entire walk, I decided to simply take pictures at various places and to record my voice through the entire walk. This was a great idea, except that the microphone pulled out of my recorder about 15 minutes in. I did take pictures, however, and so I'm going to show you the pictures, and I'm recording the voice here inside my room. The sad part is that you won't get to hear the sounds of London most of the time, although there are a few videos that I shot with my phone.
This is the Craft Beer Company. There are pubs all over London. They are wonderful if you like nice, cool places to sit. Most of them have pretty lame beer because England is far behind the US in the craft beer craze. But they are starting to catch up, and this is a really great tap room. I had a wonderful stout here one day when Kendall and Becca were off doing something else.
I recognize the name Seven Dials from Agatha Christie's Seven Dials mystery, but it's also a region, well, originally a region in London. In the center of 7 roads with 7 segments stands a pillar with 6 sundials.
7 Dials, so called because there are 7 streets here, all coming together in one place.
Hey, look, it's a subway. London does have subways. It also has, it has undergrounds. It also has Burger Kings and McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chickens, and I've seen a Taco Bell, and I strongly encourage you not to go to any of those places. I'm going to give advice here occasionally. It's mostly meant for people that have not traveled overseas, so when we get to an advice thing, you can skip it if you don't want to pay any attention. But when you do travel, I strongly recommend against going to chains that you recognize, and instead looking up places on Google that have good ratings and trying them out, because local food is oh so much better than chains. London has many, many small theaters with wonderful shows. Becca took us to see this one around Christmas time. It's called Dear Evan Hansen. A great show, and it was a really powerful time for me. We sat right on top of the stage, practically close enough that I could see the actors sweating and spitting as they did their routines. I think it's the first time I've ever been at a show where I could see the people both as individuals acting and as the characters they were playing sort of at the same time. It was a powerful experience. When we left the 7 Dials, we left on Monmouth Street, which eventually becomes St. Martin Street, which means you might be able to figure out what this church is in front of us. It's St. Martin in the Fields. I know it mostly from beautiful CDs that I heard many years ago when I was in a CD club. They make beautiful music there. We were fortunate enough to have a Christmas Eve service there, and in addition to beautiful music, we had a fantastic sermon, which I confess I was not really expecting. I certainly expected it to be well done, but I figured it would be kind of normal Christmas Eve, happy time. It was a joyful sermon, but it was focused on a really interesting image of Christ that I might share with you sometime. Across the street from St. Martin's is a large building, and by a large building I mean a really large building, and by a really large building I mean a gigantic building. It is the National Portrait Gallery. This building is filled with paintings, and all the paintings are portraits. If you like portraits, this is the place for you to be. I saw a picture of John Wesley in there that I recognize as one of the very famous ones, and I tried to take a picture of it, and you're not supposed to take pictures in the National Portrait Gallery. At any rate, if you like paintings, Kendall spent several hours in there and had a marvelous time. The Portrait Gallery faces Trafalgar Square, a large open area with a massive statue of Lord Admiral Nelson, who beat the Spanish at the Battle of Trafalgar, giving Britain control of the seas and allowing them to create the British Empire, with which they could plunder the world of its goods. I mean, with which many grateful nations gave them presents. The grateful nations having governments that were put in place by the British. I talk about COVID-19 and our response to it in Britain, and my personal response to it quite a bit when out walking. But when I'm putting together this video, it's too interesting to look at the pictures and talk about them. Nonetheless, you can see part of the results here. It is crazy to see Trafalgar Square look like this. Getting a picture like this is a really rare opportunity because usually it is full of people on a beautiful day like today. If I end up making a lot of these, and if you end up listening to them, you'll probably find that I rag on the poor British often for their colonial enterprises. It's not specific to the British. Most nations that are powerful enough to conquer other nations rather immediately plunder what they can find there. It's just that the British were really good at it for a really, really long time. We'll get much closer on a different day, but there's Big Ben. It's kind of fun to see these things off in the distance when you're just walking along and happen to look down the correct street. This is Admiralty Arch, built at the turn of the 20th century. It's the entryway into the mall, at the other end of which we will find Buckingham Palace. There are memorials to those who fought and lived and fought and died in wars throughout London. Many of you know that I really do not like war. I don't think it's a very good solution to almost any problem whatsoever. That doesn't mean that I don't respect people that fight in them. It is a tough decision to make, and I greatly respect all those who make the decision to protect those things that they find most beautiful and valuable in life. And I'm thankful for what they've done for us and for many. Once we're through the arch, on the south side of the mall is St. James Park. This is presumably St. James. It's beautiful. I would imagine most of the time it's pretty crowded, but during these COVID days, Londoners are doing a great job of social distancing. There are certainly people about, but they are staying far away from each other, except in their very small family groups. I was lucky enough to video one of these little groups when I was out.
Little family of ducks enjoying the day, and some geese out on the water. Well, actually, these are geese too. Hello, geese. Hello, goslings. You're so cute. Apparently, they're rather used to people. I'm about 10 feet away.
Well, there's plenty more to the walk, but I'm kind of bummed that I lost the audio because it's better when I'm out there walking. I will try again another day to do the audio, and for the rest of the walk today, I think I'm going to just let you listen to some little background music and look at pictures, except for the few videos that I also took.
This is called the Dell. You're not allowed to go in this park.
Sad but true. Look at that gorgeous tree.
Purdy, purdy. We're getting closer to my goal now.
20 degrees.
This is Hyde Park. I've not been here before, but I assume during normal times there are 8 bazillion gillion people out on this lake. Yeah, you win. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Tuppence a bag. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Or whatever you brought with you. Hi, puppy. Look, it's Peter Pan. He's surrounded by bunnies and by squirrels and people feeding bunnies and squirrels and people looking up longingly at Peter Pan, presumably wanting their youth back. And he's playing a flute. Like the Pied Piper of Hamelin? Or maybe like Peter Pan. I never actually read the book.